Piece of respect. Be sure to not let them only stay on this screen above us, but allow them to find a place in your hearts and in our daily lives. And as we leave tonight, may these small lights remind us of a greater truth, that peace can begin here with us. And let this truly be the moment now where hope rises, where healing begins, and where we walk forward together. Thank you.
On behalf of Utah Valley University, thank you for being with us this afternoon. As we conclude the Vigil for Unity, we remember Charlie Kirk, and we hold his family, our students, and our community in our hearts. May we carry forward the spirit of peace, respect, and unity into the days ahead. Please exit peacefully and take care of one another.
In today's complex operating environment, filled with geopolitical uncertainty, increasing competitive pressure, and regulatory demands, corporate leaders face an urgent need to streamline business execution and enhance performance. To achieve this, executives are demanding the Office of the CFO to transform from a historical record keeper into a pivotal force of strategic decision-making and business agility. Enter OneStream, our unified AI-enabled extensible software platform that redefines the role of the CFO. OneStream's unified data model integrates both financial and operational data from systems across the entire enterprise, enabling the creation of a single source of truth that can revolutionize planning and reporting processes. This unique combination empowers CFOs to provide corporate leaders a comprehensive, dynamic, and predictive view of the entire enterprise, giving them the control, visibility, and the agility to proactively steer business strategy and daily operations. Today, over 1,400 customers, including more than 15% of the Fortune 500, trust OneStream to elevate their financial operations. OneStream is shaping the future of finance. Welcome to OneStream, the operating system for modern finance.
There is so much power that food holds. Food is like the universal language, like everybody speaks food. I think there's something powerful when we can, gather things from the earth and like come together around a table.
I'm wildlife biologist Forrest Galante, and I travel the world seeking adventure. My travels have led me to right here in South Dakota, where I'm looking for the unexpected.
Sioux Falls is unexpected. I mean, the weather, for one, is always changing. So as a person living here, you have to be able to pivot at any point, but that's the beauty of it.
Hey guys,
Hey, Forrest.
how's it going?
Good, how about you?
Very good.
Hey, TR, welcome to South Dakota.
Forrest, hi.
Hello.
How's it going?
Good.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Are you ready to forage some things?
Absolutely.
Let's do it.
So you grew salsa to a food truck to a brick and mortar restaurant. And now here we are in the woods in the Valley of the Giants. Why the special connection to wild forage foods?
I think it kind of just goes back to how can we take technique and ingredients and adapt them to the landscape. Excited to influence, I think, community as well, to see other people adapt to the land and take, more from it instead of being so reliant on like imported product.
Well, I know where some nettle is, so you guys want to follow me?
Ready to go?
Let's
go. I'm hungry. Key identifier for the lamb's quarter is going to be kind of like that lighter color on that inner part. It's going to have like a spinachy taste to it. Soup. Before we go cook for us, let's grab some local produce here at Cherry Rock Farms. So they were our first official retail partner ever. They pushed us to kind of, go further than we thought before. And they've always been so encouraging to have our products be on their shelves, to support us since the beginning. And on top of that, they're a third generation organic farmer out here. And I think that's so different. I mean, we're looking probably for like a nice bushy stalk, You might need a, oh, there you go.
I did it right.
Did you get it?
Nope.
You gotta loosen up the dirt a little bit around it.
That's a delicious muddy carrot.
Oh, it's so good.
Really good. This tastes like a carrot. This is fresh,
As it should.
delicious, a little muddy.
That's a little seasoning.
Marcella, what else do we need for tonight's dishes?
Cilantro.
Okay,
Yes. Can't have a taco without cilantro.
that's for sure. Why do you feel it's important to support regenerative farms like Cherry Rock?
It's so important because it's nourishing to our bodies to see people respect the land and respect a seed and care for it and take care of it. It leads to a more nourishing product for the body.
And for the land.
Yes, absolutely.
And for the environment, which ultimately makes everybody better.
Absolutely. And it's the obvious thing. We need to go back to those roots. That's what they've done here and continue to do.
So, should we go cook?
Let's go. Sioux Falls, wow. I'm so proud to live here. Being here and seeing the community that I've been able to build around me and to see everyone supporting and loving on each other, it's a privilege to be here. All right, we made it. So our main entree is going to be an arrachera. So this is a skirt steak from Svek
We got it marinating here with a little bit of our Cadillac pouch. This is actually from Spearfish, South Dakota, so give it a try.
Oh yeah, that's worth marinating the steak in.
Yeah,
oh yeah, I might hang on to that. If I were
People expect Mexican food to be cheap.
All right, this feels almost illegal to know, but our windows were
97, 94, 95, 96% of the people are against me in the sense of the newscasts are against me. The stories are they said 97% bad. So they gave me 97. They'll take a great story and they'll make it bad. See, I think that's really illegal, personally. You can't have a free airwaves. You're getting free airwaves from the United States government, and you can't have that and say, and somebody that just won an election, and I had to go through this during the election. I think it's a miracle that I can win when 97% of the stories on the networks are bad, or whatever it may be, whether it's 89, it doesn't matter. It's a tremendous number. You know it, you report it all the time, and it changes. But when you have that kind of a negative reporting, fake negative reporting, when they take a great story and they make it into a bad story constantly, that's what they do. Look, 60 Minutes took Kamala's answer and they threw it out and they gave her a different answer so that she sounded competent. When things like that happen, George Slopadopoulos from your network, right? George Slopadopoulos had to pay $16 million to me because of what he said. And that's ABC. You had to pay more than that. Your network had to pay more than that. So I think it's very sad. But I think that reporting has to be at least accurate to an extent. Again, when somebody is given 97% of the stories are bad about a person, that's no longer free speech, that's no longer anything, that's just cheating. And they cheat. And they become really members of the Democrat National Committee. That's what they are, the networks, in my opinion. They're just offshoots of the Democrat National Committee.
Mr. President, thank you. Liam Cosgrove with Zero Hedge. People are still anticipating who your pick for National Security Advisor will be. They're worried Marco Rubio is a little overworked, and one of the reported frontrunners is Michael Anton from the State Department.
Our program will begin
He's just
in just
authored
a
the
few
National Security
moments.
Strategy. Also in the
We
mix
ask
is
that you
Mike
take your
Flynn
seats,
and Steve
filling
Witkoff. Can you
in
give us an
toward the
indication?
center as you do,
We'll make a
and help
decision
us
soon.
maintain an
But we're doing
atmosphere
very
of
well.
peace,
I
respect,
settled
and
7
unity.
wars, more than that, I think. But actually, we settled 7 wars. I have we're working on Gaza, it's a tough one, but we'll get it done somehow. And we're also working with Russia and Ukraine. They hate each other so much you wouldn't believe it. President Putin and President Zelensky, they hate each other to a level that you wouldn't believe. So I'm having a little bit of a problem with that.
And are you considering Stephen Moran for Fed chair?
I hadn't thought of it too much. He's doing a great job. Just got approved. His vote was a very good one. The Fed should have done more. Too late. Powell is terrible. He's a terrible chair. I think he's just terrible. But despite that, we're powering through it. We have another record stock market today. We're very, very high levels, and we're at the highest levels. So we're setting records. Many, many days during my administration, we've set records, and we'll see what happens with 50,000. 50,000 is a pretty big number. Never come close. We're not so far away from it. So that's because they see what's happening. Not so much what's happening exactly right now, but they see all the plants that are being built. They see the kind of investment that's going to be made. When you take $17 trillion, so Biden had $250 billion, okay?
Safety game, and it all starts with the distance between your thumb and your pinky.
And he's reinventing the way we lock up our guns. Irvin has been hard at work for the last
Good afternoon. On behalf of Utah Valley University, thank you for joining us for the Vigil for Unity. Today, we gather to come together to heal, to reaffirm our shared values, and to remember the life of Charlie Kirk. As a public figure, a husband, a father, and a friend, we ask that all present join in maintaining an atmosphere of peace, respect, and unity throughout today's program. This is a time for healing, for hope, and for strength together. As students, as a community, and as a nation, let us move forward with resilience and care.
Is touching each part up to 800 in an 8-hour.
Please rise for the presentation of the colors by the ROTC. The ceremonial rifles used in the posting of the colors are non-functioning firearms.
For more information and to purchase your own, visit Stopbox USA, and we'll see you all next time.
Mark time. Mark. Color guard.
You see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
Or putting a simpler way, they had much less than $1 trillion, but they had less than $1 trillion for 4 years. I have $17 trillion for 8 months. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. And I think they're looking at that and they're saying when those plants open, right now they're being built, a lot of them, and some are starting over the next year. It takes a while, but we're getting fast permits. And when those plants get built, I don't think there'll be anything like what we're going to experience. Yeah?
Mr. President, if I can, on the tough subject of free speech, Ted Cruz compared Brendan Carr to a mob boss, the way he's threatening television stations and saying it's absolutely dangerous for the government to determine which speech is okay and which is not.
Emotional, but I'm very
What's
proud
your
of my
reaction to
husband.
Ted
And I know
Cruz?
many of you are
Brendan
too.
Carr is an incredible American patriot with courage. You know, it used to be, I remember in the old days,
and I know a lot of you have seen,
networks would have to get licensed,
his videos on
relicensed,
TikTok and
it
all
was
the
always
stuff
a
he
big
does on
deal. You know,
campus,
they had to
but
show
no one gets
honesty
to
and
see
integrity.
him
When
from
you
my
have a
angle,
network,
except
again,
for
I'll use
myself
the same
and
numbers,
children.
whether it's 90 or 94 or 97, all different numbers, but when you have networks that give somebody 97% bad publicity or 94%
And the
bad publicity,
sacrifices that he made this year,
I think that's dishonesty.
he's in my
And
I'm very
you know,
proud.
they're getting
And I
free
would not have been
airwaves,
able to
right?
do
You
any
know
of it
that,
without
right? They're
Erica,
getting for
and that's
nothing.
the
These
real truth.
airwaves,
I'll
they
tell
make
you what.
millions and
If
millions
everything
of dollars. The news makes millions
completely
of dollars.
goes away,
ABC,
how do you
your
want to be
network.
remembered? I want to be
Network
remembered
wrote very badly
for
about
courage
me
for
and
my
had to pay
faith.
me $16 million.
That would be the most
I wasn't right
most
for
important
that.
thing.
Brendan Carr has a right to
No, I
take
think
away the
Brendan Carr is
license?
a patriot. I think Brendan Carr is a courageous person. I think Brendan Carr doesn't like to see the airwaves be used illegally and incorrectly and purposely horribly. Doesn't like to see a person that won the election in a
We now
landslide get
invite you to join us in a
97%
brief moment
bad
of
publicity
silence.
before the election. I mean, it's amazing that I won the election with that, but here's what happened. The people have given your networks no credibility. They don't give them any credibility, John. If they did, they wouldn't vote for me. They wouldn't have voted for me. When you look at, I mean, you
Thank
could also
you.
say the liberal media, the liberal left. When you
We
look at
welcome the
these
Utah
stories
Valley
and
Institute
papers, but we're not
Choir.
talking about that. We're talking about, I assume you're talking mostly about the networks, but they have a licensing procedure, and you can read it as well. They have to show honesty and integrity. And when they take a good, well, I think the people decide. That's why I'm president. When they take a great success, like you often do, and you make it into like it's a loser, or you put a negative spin on it, I don't think that's right. So I think Brendan Carr is a great American patriot. So I disagree with Ted Cruz on that.
Is your growth strategy a big deal? We helped facilitate the merger and integration of two energy companies to fuel a more reliable and affordable delivery model. Solutions that work in practice, not just on paper.
I'll be at the UN. I'll be making a speech. Yes.
And are you meeting any other world leaders?
Many of them. Well, I'm just meeting. They're being set up.
What is your goal for attending that meeting?
World peace. Nobody's done a better job than I've done in world peace. Nobody's settled so many wars as I have. You know, I've been here probably a little bit more than 8 months, and I've settled 7, and that doesn't include the destruction of a vast potential nuclear disaster in Iran, which we wiped out totally, as I say, obliterated. We obliterated it. It's been turned right with this beautiful plane right now. We just ordered some more of them, by the way. The B-2 bomber. Just ordered some more of them. The more updated version. Not that we needed that. We just need the plane because it was so flawless. These pilots flew 37 hours flawlessly. Not an engine problem, not a screw, not a bolt came loose. It was an amazing. Compare that to many years ago, Jimmy Carter, same country, with the helicopters and the problems and the prisoners and the hostages. What a mess. You know, these planes flew 37 hours without a stop. They fueled up. We had 52 tankers fueling the planes along the way. It was incredible. And every single bomb hit its mark. And then we fired 30 of them from a submarine. What a job that was. And I don't even include that. But that stopped a war. That stopped maybe a catastrophic war. So, you know, so I think that nobody has ever done anywhere near that. Now, on top of that, we're working very hard to get Russia-Ukraine settled. We'll see what's going to happen there. I hope we're going to get it done. President Xi and I spoke to him about it, and I believe that he really would like to see it done also. And I think he's going to work with us to help.
What was your message to President Xi on
Well, it's the same as his message to me. He would like to see it done. He would like to see it. I believe he would like to see it ended, yes. I do believe.
These 2 wars that you were talking about, Gaza and Ukraine, are escalating. At the same time, you're going to take the stage, and the UN back at the stage after these years. Do you plan to setting any kind of red lines for these 2 countries? And you said before, you are frustrated with Putin. Are you also frustrated with
We have a long
Netanyahu?
time to go before I get up and speak at the UN, because every day is a long time when it comes to Gaza, when it comes to Israel and the Middle East. So we have a long time to go, but you know a lot of my opinions, and remember this, you can't forget October 7th either. People are forgetting October 7th. They forget it too quickly. That was one of the worst days in world history. It was the most evil attack that I think you could really say babies were involved, little babies were involved, having their heads chopped off and all of the things that took place. You can't forget that. I don't forget that. A lot of people do, but I don't. Yep.
Mr. President, what goes into retaking Bagram? Does that require boots on the ground?
We'll see what happens with Bagram. We're talking to Afghanistan. It should have never been given up. It was the most embarrassing day in the history of our country. There was no reason to give it up. I was leaving Afghanistan. I was leaving. I was the one that got it down to 5,000 soldiers. But we were
UVU student
going to keep
and part of the
Bagram,
Turning Point
the air
USA
bases.
chapter
I
to the
said it
podium.
yesterday, and we had an incredible trip, as you know, to UK. And I said it during the press conference. It's one of the most powerful runways ever built in terms of weight.
Good afternoon.
Length.
It is a privilege to share a
and
few
load,
words
what
with you today.
What it could
as
take.
we remember
And we just
and
gave
honor
it up for
Charlie
nothing.
Kirk.
We gave it up for nothing. There was no
Charlie
reason to
often
give it up.
spoke
We weren't
about
going
the
to leave
importance of unity. He once
And
said,
Joe Biden
"We
didn't
are
know what he was
strongest when we
doing.
put
We had a
aside
man that didn't
what
know what he
divides
was
us
doing. We had a man,
and
by the
focus
way,
on
that
what makes us one." Those words
didn't
feel
approve.
especially
You take a
meaningful
look at
right
what's
now.
happening in Congress.
In times of
We had a
loss
man
and
that
hardship,
signed everything with
it can
almost
be easy
everything
to
with
focus
an
on
auto pen.
differences.
And
But
he didn't
Charlie
tell the people
reminded
from
us
the auto
that our
pen,
true
whoever was
strength
using it,
is
the one man
found
that
in
used
what
it
brings us
predominantly
together.
said that Biden
He also
only spoke to him
reminds us
twice and it was
about
only about
courage.
the weather.
Charlie
It
said,
was about
if you
nothing.
believe in something,
So those
you need to
pardons
have
that
the
he gave are
courage to fight
illegal.
for those
He
ideas.
gave illegal pardons.
Not run away
and that includes
from
the
them
congressman
or
that
try to
destroyed
silence
and
them.
deleted
I
all
think
the
courage
information
in this moment
from
doesn't just mean standing
J6.
up
They
for what we
deleted
believe
everything
in,
because it turned
but
out
also
that they were
finding
wrong.
the bravery
It turned
to reach
out that
across
I
differences,
offered
to listen to each other,
10,000 National Guard
to
or
extend
soldiers,
kindness,
whatever they wanted,
even when it
and you
isn't
wouldn't
easy.
have had a problem. And they turned it
As I
down. Nancy
reflect on those
Pelosi turned
words,
it down, and the
I
mayor
find
of
comfort
Washington,
in the
D.C.
promise of
turned it
Scripture.
down. They deleted
Psalm
everything and they
34:18
destroyed
tells
it,
us,
illegally destroyed
"The Lord
it.
is close
And
to the
Biden gave them a
brokenhearted
pardon.
and saves
And
those
Biden gave a lot of
who are
other
crushed
people
in spirit."
pardons that, frankly,
That
would be in
verse
jail if it
reminds
wasn't
us
for those
that
pardons.
God
But those
sees
pardons
us
now
in our
are
pain,
illegal,
and that He
according to
draws
just
near
about everyone.
On Letitia James, are you disappointed that the U.S. Attorney
we are
for the
not
Eastern
alone.
District of Virginia
We have
has
one
not
another,
prosecuted
and we have
Letitia
our
James?
faith.
Do you intend to fire him?
And we have the strength
Well, we're
that
going to see what
comes
happens.
from
I
unity.
am not following it very closely.
tonight,
It looks to me
as we
like she's
gather in
very
this
guilty
vigil,
of something, but
I
I
hope
really
we can
don't
take
know. I know
Charlie's
that
words and the scripture
U.S. Attorney
to
from
heart.
the Eastern
Let us
District, or
remember
from
that
that
our
district
strength
in Virginia,
is found when we
that
stand
he was
shoulder to shoulder.
approved by
Let
two
us choose courage.
Democrat
Courage
senators
to
who, in my
listen,
opinion, are among the
courage to
worst.
love,
And
and
when I
courage to
learned
heal
that
together.
two senators, Democrats,
prayer
because as you
is
know,
that
it's very hard
tonight,
with the blue
as we
slip.
leave,
It's very
we
hard
carry
for
forward
a
a
Republican
renewed
to get somebody
commitment
approved if you
to
have
peace,
one senator that's a
to
Democrat
respect,
because of an
and to
old
unity.
custom. It's
Because
not a
those
law, it's a
values
custom.
are what will help
It's a
us move forward
ridiculous
together.
custom.
Thank
But
you.
if you have a Democrat senator, you have to get that senator approved.
We
Well, in this case,
welcome
we had two.
Dr. Juliana Borio
When I
Goetz,
saw that he got
Professor
two
Emerita of
senators,
Chemistry at
two
Brigham Young University
gentlemen that
and Commissioned
are
Catholic
bad
Lay
news as far as
Ecclesial
I'm
Minister.
concerned. When I saw that he got approved by those two men, I said, pull it, because he can't be any good.
to speak to you
So
today.
you want him fired? You want him
My
out?
words are
Yeah, I want
offered
him
in
out,
support
yeah. When I
of the
learned
Vigil's
that
goal of unity,
he was blue slipped
peace,
through
respect,
by two
and healing.
Democrat senators in Virginia,
I tend to think
people
of
that would
healing as the first
never
step,
vote for it, the people
one
that haven't
that
voted for
enables
us
unity.
for probably
and then
years.
unity gives
okay,
rise
probably
to
years.
peace,
Two,
both
in my
within
opinion, two
all
bad
of us
guys.
individually
You know, they
and with our
Warner and Kane.
relationships with
Two
others.
bad guys, bad senators
Thus,
too. They do a terrible job for
broken
the
by the
people of
trauma
Virginia.
of last
But when I
week,
saw that he got
the
approved by these
brokenness
two
in our
terrible people that
communities,
haven't
our
voted, they
country,
just
and the
don't vote, no
world,
matter what it is.
healing
We could
seems
give them the
essential
greatest deal
to achieve
ever, and
unity
they still
and
wouldn't vote.
peace and
And they voted
respect.
for this guy.
The
And I have
world's
other
major
people,
faiths,
judges, and I
Judaism,
have
Christianity,
U.S. attorneys from
Islam,
other states where I have the same
Hinduism, and
situation.
Mormonism, of course,
And they
all
can't get approved.
recognize that an
So when I
essential
learned that they
step
voted
to
for him, I said,
healing
I don't really want him.
is forgiveness of those
Do you want to get? Have you seen the polling, the Gallup poll out of Ukraine that shows 23% less than a quarter of Ukrainians actually support continuing the war against Putin? We saw the European leaders come here and try to say the world is united for the war effort, but Ukrainians have war fatigue themselves. Have you seen the polling? Your thoughts on it?
I don't blame him. It's a war that never should have started. It's a war that never would have happened. If I were president, that war never would have happened.
as the divine
Ever.
acts with us.
It's a disgrace that that war happened. And they're
In the Old
losing
Testament,
anywhere from
we see
5,000 to
Joseph,
8,000 people
he of
a
the
week
amazing
on that war,
Technicolor
which is the
Dreamcoat,
worst since the Second World
forgiving
War.
his
That's
brothers
a war that should have
and
never
making
happened.
a home for them
Would
in
have
Egypt.
never happened. And
when
it didn't
their
happen
homeland
for
is
4 years.
beset
When
by
I was
drought
here, it
and
didn't
famine.
happen. Go ahead.
Have you considered cutting funding,
Luke's
even promises made by the
New
Biden
Testament.
administration.
Well, we're not spending any money
Jesus
on the
says
war.
from
You
the
know, we're
cross,
being paid for everything
Father,
we said. Not
forgive
like
them,
Biden. He
for
gave
they
them
know not what
$350
they
billion.
do.
And
Jesus
it's just, it
not
was
only
shocking.
forgives
We're
his
not
crucifiers,
spending any money on the war.
he
The war
asks
is
the Father
being
for
funded
mercy
by
for
NATO.
them.
NATO is buying our
Forgiveness.
equipment. In fact, I don't want to make
U of
money
U
on
is
that
a
war. I
diverse
don't want
campus.
to, but we are actually
Not
making
only a
money on that war
community
because
of
they're buying our equipment, as you know. But we,
diverse faith believers.
NATO, as you know,
It
it's very
also
important,
includes
is
those who
funding
have
the
been
entire
hurt
thing. They're paying
by faith
for the
communities.
missiles, for the tanks. They're paying for anything that's sent over there. It goes to NATO, and then NATO does what they want with it. In this case, I guess they give it to Ukraine. It's a very sad war. It's a war that never should have happened.
We have crazy deals at Nissan of South Morrow. Get the 2025 Nissan Rogue for 0% APR for 60 months plus $1,750 select bonus cash, or get it for just $319 a month on lease. Visit us today before you miss out.
To forgiving, letting go of hurt. When we hold grudges or nurse angry emotions,
supplies are low, deliveries are late. You can scream all day,
PTSD.
or you can try the Webster way.
Practice forgiveness.
Hey, we need more
reduce
cups.
physiological levels of cortisol,
Ordered.
a stress hormone. Functional MRI studies show the neuroanatomy of
I think we should start
forgiveness,
with lemon meringue donuts.
mental pathways associated with empathy, and the perception of others. There's more to the health value of forgiveness.
From cups
so I
to
encourage you
espresso
to read
machines,
the article.
get everything you need without the stress.
I am a
That's
person
the Webster
both of
way.
science and faith. And I'm going to return to the Philippians passage, which you will hear a bit later. I believe that it offers a process to begin to forgive, to begin to see in a different light.
TikTok.
And so I encourage you to
U.S. government
listen
going to take a
when
board seat in the company and will the U.S.
recites
government get a board
Philippians,
seat
but I'm just
within
going
the
to give you a
company?
little
Well, we're going
snippet
to
of
announce
it
it.
right
Are you talking
now.
about TikTok? Yeah. We're going to
Could
announce
each
it.
of us
But it's a great deal
going
for our
forth
country. It's a great deal
make
for all of the young people in the country that wanted it. For people generally. I was happy with it. Look, I wasn't a fan of TikTok, and then I got to use it. And I became a fan, and it helped me win the election in a landslide. So
it can start by
I think
recognizing
that
things
it's a
we
deal that's going to be
share.
great. And it's also
Like in
controlled by
allegiance to
very
the same sports team,
powerful and very
or
substantial
interest in
American
books,
people.
Music,
All American,
movies,
by the way, all American
outdoor
people.
activities. Begin there, and maybe we can move toward the more substantive issues of personhood
there was an
and
estimated
politics
6.8
that
million
divide
men
us
not
now.
actively seeking work of
I'm going to
prime
close
working
with
age.
some words from my
So if
beloved
you and
St.
Secretary
Francis of
Lutnick could
Assisi.
talk about the efforts your administration is
Lord,
taking to help
make
our
us
American
channels of your
gentlemen get back to work.
Yeah, well, what we're doing
Where
is they're
there is
building plants all
hatred,
over the United
let us
States,
sow
and
love,
frankly, because
and
of
where there
tariffs,
is
we're taking in
injury,
trillions of dollars,
let us offer
trillions of
forgiveness.
dollars. And countries
Thank
that have
you,
ripped us
and
off
may
for
God
years,
bless
and
you,
everyone knows
and
this,
grant
countries
you
that
peace
have
and
ripped us
healing.
off for years, like nobody's ever been ripped off before, they're now having to pay up. They're paying a lot of
We
money
welcome
to
Elder
America, and
Matthew
we're
S.
reducing
Holland,
taxes with that
former
money, and
UVU
we're,
president,
we're
author
doing
on
things
civic
that we
charity,
were never able to
and
do
General
before.
Authority 70
So
for the Church of
you're
Jesus
gonna have a lot
Christ of
jobs.
Latter-day Saints.
The jobs are being created right now, and the tariffs are protecting our country. And we didn't use,
Dear
tariffs were
friends,
used against us,
we gather
but we
today
didn't
in the
use them
shadow
against
of
others.
profound sorrow.
But we're really
and
better
the
at
light
it than
of shared
anybody
hope.
else. So we've taken in, we will have
this
taken
solemn
in
moment,
trillions
my
of
wife,
dollars.
Paige, and my children join
Nobody's
me
ever seen
in
anything.
noting
Even
that our
people that
deep
were
love
against the
for this
tariffs, now they see the way they're working. And by the way,
developed through
with no inflation,
9 glorious years of
with
living
no
on
problem,
this campus,
we're just building
has
up
never
cash,
left our
and
hearts.
we're using that
In
cash
fact,
to
that
reduce
love
taxes,
beats today strong
reduce debt,
as ever.
and other things. It's a great thing
The
to watch.
firing
And
of a single bullet on this campus.
your honest
last week
reporters
left
are saying they've
wounds,
never seen anything like
seen
what's
and
happening.
unseen,
Our country is
in
becoming
every
very rich
direction.
again only because of tariffs.
The first
if
and
we didn't
foremost
have
casualty
it, if we didn't
was
have,
Charlie
if I
Kirk.
didn't get elected, this
His
country would
life,
be
precious.
It was a dead
as is
country.
all human
Look,
life.
we were
was
a
cut
dead
short,
country a year ago,
and a young
and now we're the
family
most
was left to
successful,
grieve.
most vibrant country anywhere in
Our
the world.
earnest prayers
Healthcare.
Good to see you. You're good on
Additionally,
television.
Thank you,
this
sir. I
lone
tried.
act of violence
Tonight,
pierced
in a few
hearts
minutes,
and
Steve Bannon
minds
will appear on my show.
everywhere,
He
as
floats
well
the
as
idea
soul of
that
this
you should dual
institution
hat
and that of the
Secretary of
nation,
Treasury
and even
Scott
the world
Bessent,
in
not
which
only
we
as
live.
Treasury Secretary, but as
In
interim
response,
Fed
it's
Chair. Would you be
natural
willing
and
to entertain
fitting
that?
for you
In other words,
to
you like
ask,
Scott.
can we possibly heal?
So do I.
Can
And I
we
like
bridge
Steve,
the
too.
chasms
Yeah.
of
Would you like to see that
the
in
disagreement
dual
Well, certainly
among
an
us?
interesting
Can we reclaim
It would
some
could save a little bit of
semblance
salary. I
peace
think I could maybe make a
ruptured by
deal
this
where we
one
just give them
despicable
one
act?
salary. You know, I have a couple of them.
I am only one
I have
voice.
Marco. No, I don't think
The
so.
answer for
And
me
we
is
we
yes.
have Marco's got about 3
The first
positions, right?
harbinger,
He's doing great
signal
also. No,
of my hope for
no, I don't
peace
think
and
that's going to be
unity
necessary. Actually,
is UVU itself.
I went to
This
Scott and I
remarkable
talked to him about
institution
that
was created
position,
to provide
and he
space
loves
for
what he's doing
anybody
right now. So
who needed
he's not
access
in the
to higher
mix because
education in some
he
form.
loves being Secretary of the
Since
Treasury.
then,
Today
this
is the
school
first day of
has
early voting
always
in the
opened
Commonwealth of Virginia.
its doors
Are
widely
you
to
planning on
students from
campaigning
any
for Winston Sears,
economic,
John Reed, or Jesse
political,
Mayaris?
religious,
Well, I'm going to have to look
cultural,
at some of
and
them. As you
academic
know,
background.
it's sort of a
In every phase of
semi-local
its development, it
election.
has,
I've been watching
by
it. I've been
vision,
seeing the ads.
policies and practice, remains
Who do you
a
like
place
of the
for
group?
all.
Who do you like?
The whole ticket.
All of
Thus,
them? You like
UVU
them?
seems
Well,
not just
I'll take a very
equipped to
strong look.
survive this
Okay.
moment.
For you, I'm going to
It's
look.
built for this
Secretary Kennedy's panel on vaccine changed its broad recommendations on COVID-19 vaccines today. Are you comfortable with that change, or would you like to see Americans take the vaccines that were developed under your tenure?
And respect
Well,
for
the
all.
vaccines, according to a lot of
What
people, and if you
happened
look at
last
George, said have
was
had
an
a tremendous,
unimaginable
Operation Warp Speed. It
violation
was
of everything UVU
just
has
according
stood
to just
for and
about
become.
everybody, was one of the greatest things
What
that
I
any
know
president
about
has
this
ever done in
incredible
this
school
country. So we're very
is that
proud of
such
it.
a
I'm very
moment
proud of it.
is likely to
I'm also very
elevate
proud of
rather than derail
Regeneron
its
and some of the
historic
things that
core
came out of,
commitments.
All of the
Another
labs and all
harbinger
of the
of hope
research that we've done.
is that while this
So I don't know
nation
exactly
is
what the
reeling
final
from a
determination
level of
is, but I
division
had
not
the
seen in
vaccine. I
recent
was very happy
times.
with it. Here
America
I am.
has a
Here I am.
silent
Bobby Kennedy seems to be undoing what you did with Operation Warp
Put him in
Speed.
there
Current
because I want to
animosities may
have
appear
opposite
that
views.
they
That's
will
okay.
only further fester
I think we're going to have
expand.
something
But our past
very, very
should
big
help
coming
us
up
see,
soon on
perhaps even
autism.
expect,
Autism is totally
that
out of
things
control.
can change for the
And
better.
one of the biggest,
From some of the most
one of the most
precarious
important
moments
things,
of our national
in my
origins
opinion, I
and
had to do
founding
is to see
to a
what's
civil
going on
war
with
and the
autism.
violent
We're going
days
to have
of the civil
a
rights
news
era.
conference early next
Leaders
week on
and movements
autism.
have emerged
And I think
to
you're going to
couple
see
the
some
strength
things that are
of our
amazing that we've
ingenious
learned that somebody else
constitutional
wouldn't have
order
learned.
with civic
It's out of
appeals
control.
to a rich
Autism,
stock
out of control.
of religiously
And I
grounded
think we maybe
ideals,
have the reason
especially
why.
that of
But is
Christian love,
Bobby Kennedy
to
going
show
too
us a
far
better
in
way forward.
unwinding the
I don't know.
vaccines?
He's saying for older people. Yeah, he's saying for older people. A lot of people agree
Abraham
with that.
Lincoln stepped forward and declared to the North and South
I can tell you
alike
this,
that
Operation
while
Warp
we must
Speed,
be firm
one of the greatest
in the
things the
defense of
president
that
has
which
ever
is right,
done for this country.
we must
And you can
always
say the
do
world,
so
because when we
with
came up with
malice
that
toward
vaccine,
none,
the whole
with
world
charity
opened up.
for all.
But I put Bobby there
It's been
as somebody
wisely
that will go
observed that
either
hope
way. From,
is being
and
able
I
to
want,
see that
you know,
there is
I want the
light
facts, but I also
despite
look
all
at
the
facts from
darkness. To those
Pfizer,
tempted
where
to
they
see
spent a lot of
only
money, and the
darkness
other
now,
drug companies,
I
they
invite
spent a
you
lot of
to
money
look
on
carefully at the
finding
light
out
of
the
our
results
past
after the
and
fact. And the
gather
results
hope for
were
the future.
amazingly
It's a
good.
future you can help create by rejecting
I'm wondering if you've seen the video put out by former Israeli hostages addressed to you. One is a widow of one that died, and these are people who were freed thanks to you. But they're actually encouraging you to force a ceasefire. Force Netanyahu to ceasefire. And they didn't address it to him because they think you're the one who might actually listen to them and get it done.
A timely and prophetic reminder of this point came just this month in a Time magazine article by President Russell M. Nelson, who urged that anger never persuades, hostility never heals, and contention never leads to lasting solutions. My final harbinger of hope is actually all the tears that I've
Ordering
seen
food for
shed.
work used to mean stacks
After
of
the
receipts and
9/11
spreadsheets.
attacks,
But with
Queen Elizabeth
EasyCater,
famously
all that
said,
paperwork isn't even
"Grief
work
is the
anymore.
price
View
we
orders,
pay
access
for
receipts,
love."
track expenses,
The recent
all in one
emotions
place.
on this
Now
campus
that's a tasty
are, in
solution.
many
Start an
respects,
order at
a healthy
easycater.com.
sign that you do love, you do care for your neighbor. The shortest verse in Scripture is John 11:35.
They're worried that the hostages who are
which
still
simply
there
reads,
are more at risk
Jesus
if the
wept.
war continues. Your
Well,
thoughts on
The
it?
setting
they
of
might be.
Jesus'
They
encounter
also
with two
maybe
sisters
they'll be freed
grieving over the
because
loss
of
of
that.
their
You know, you
brother
never know how
Lazarus.
it's. Look, war.
From
I
a
was
Christian
saying,
perspective,
war.
he who held power
A lot of strange
of life
things
and
happen.
death,
A lot of
and
results
was about to exercise
take place
that
that
power
you
to
would
raise
never
Lazarus
think
from the
were
dead,
going to
still
happen.
could not hold back his tears.
As you know, I was able to
when
get
those close
most
to
of the
him
hostages
were
out.
hurting.
We're down to 20,
Mourning
and
is
we
not
have
a
32
weakness. It is the loving
dead people.
gesture
You know that.
of a
We have
soul
32,
that has
maybe more,
witnessed
38,
pain and chosen not to
between
turn
32
away.
and 38
In
people
the
that were
Latter-day
dead,
Saint
mostly young people.
The Book of Mormon
and I've dealt with
teaches
some of
that
the
one
parents.
the ultimate signs
And
of
we got all
Christian
our
discipleship
Americans out,
is a
you know,
willingness
and now
to
we're talking
mourn
about
with those
mostly
that mourn,
Israelis.
yea,
But I
and
dealt with
comfort
parents, I
those
spoke
that
to
stand
parents,
in need
and
of comfort.
they want the body of
Whatever your
their
belief
son,
or tradition,
I believe in almost all
my hope
cases
for all of
sons,
us
but
is
they
that
want the
we will
body
not
of their
wait for
cherished,
grief to
beautiful
come
son. They
knocking
want
on
the
our
body
door
back as much
before we
as
actively
though he were
respond with
alive.
compassion
It's
to those who
so
are hurting.
sad to see. But
This
I've
is a
dealt
time
with
for
the
shared
mothers and
burdens
fathers.
and
Please, sir,
collective
please.
healing.
The body of my
The
son,
old
they know
English
he's dead.
poet John Donne taught
And
that no man is
They
an
want,
island
they just want him back.
entire of
They want him
itself.
back as
Each
much
is a piece
as
of
though
the
he's alive.
continent,
I mean,
a part of
it's
the main. When
it's
one
very
student
terrible.
suffers,
And
we
you know,
all
we
do.
have
And when another is
very close to
comforted,
40 bodies
we are all
that
lifted.
are included
Evidence
in
that
the
you
whole
are
thing.
already responding
But we
this
have
way
20,
is
probably
everywhere.
20 that are living. It might
What
be a
an
little bit less
inspiration you
because
are
a couple
to
of
me,
things.
and what
Look,
a
young people
signal
don't
you
die.
are.
Okay, they just don't die.
What a signal
They can
you are
take a
sending
lot,
to
but
the world about what
a
it
lot of
means to
people
be part
died
of the
in
UVU
these
community.
horrible.
When we
tunnels.
mourn together,
They're mostly
when
in
we
the
show
tunnels.
forth love
I know a
despite
lot
our
about it.
differences,
I got them out.
when we
I got
create
'em out.
spaces
But
for
I always
all
said
to
the
come
last
and
20,
learn
when
and
you get down to
discuss
the last 10 or 20,
and
it's going to be
debate
very
with
tough.
honesty and civility,
It's a nasty,
we are
it's a
making
nasty
room for something
situation. You
sacred.
can't forget October
We are
7th.
making room
But it's
for
a
peace.
nasty situation, terrible.
Mr.
Jesus
President, on
Christ
Gaza,
promised
the UN concluded this
peace.
week that
I
Israel
leave with you.
committed genocide in
My
Gaza. What are
peace
your thoughts on that?
I give
Well, I
unto
haven't
you.
seen that. I'm looking
Let
at
not
it,
your
but
heart be troubled.
did anybody
Neither
commit
let it be
genocide on
afraid.
October 7th?
Peace,
What do you think
in its
about
most
that?
fundamental sense,
That
is
was
not
genocide
the complete absence of
At the
hostility
highest level.
or conflict,
That was
though it aims for
murder, genocide,
It
you
is
can
the
call it whatever
calming
you want.
presence
But little
of
babies were
goodness
chopped in
and
half.
God in our lives,
Arms were cut
despite
off people,
surrounding
heads were cut
challenges.
off people.
In this
That's
sense,
genocide.
the
That's
fearless
genocide
resolve
also,
of
yes.
UVU
What do you think when you
in
see
a question on your disappointment.
overcoming evil with good
Well,
is a
it
signal
hasn't been fully
that in very
negotiated.
real
We'll get
ways,
something from the
peace
standpoint
is
that
already here.
we worked
In a
hard. We
world
put up a lot.
currently
We spent a
torn
lot of
by
money
too much malice and
on
division.
letting
God
this come
bless you
and letting
for
this,
coming today.
you know, it's a
Determined
very,
to
very
be
big deal.
peacemakers.
It's a very powerful
Determined to
deal.
rise above the darkness
And
of the moment
the United States
with
really,
consistent
I
acts
see
of
it.
courage
People
and
were saying,
compassion.
save TikTok, save
You are
TikTok.
already
So many people.
the hands and hearts
It's a big thing.
by
And,
which
you know,
peace,
China can be very
rather than
proud
hate,
that they were able to
will
get that
prevail on
started.
this campus.
And so I very much
May heaven
appreciate
help you
President Xi's
in your
working with
every
us on
effort
that. Very
to
much.
do so.
Antifa.
Amen.
What comes next after designating Antifa a
Well, we
terrorist
have others that
organization?
we're going to designate too, but we're going to
We
look at the
invite
people that
UVU
funded
student
Antifa.
Whitney
see
Willardson
who
to the
they are, where they
podium
came
to
from,
read
and why they did.
Philippians
Have you
chapter
seen
4,
Portland
verse
at all?
8.
You take a look what's happening in Portland. It's, I mean, this has been going on for years.
Whatsoever things are true.
Just people out of
Whatsoever
control.
things are honest.
Crazy. We're going to stop that very
Whatsoever
soon.
things
We have to
are
get rid of a
just.
couple of other problems
whatsoever
first. We're
things
going to get
are
rid
pure.
of the problems
Whatsoever
in
things
Memphis
are
where you
lovely.
can't even walk a
Whatsoever
block
things
without
are
getting
of good
shot.
report.
We're going to get
If there
rid of
be
the
any
problems in
virtue,
Chicago.
and if there be any
Chicago's a great
praise,
city and we have to
think on
save
these
it.
things.
We have to save it. I told you I had the head of the Union Pacific Railroad in my office, and I said, so what do you think?
We
You go to
welcome the
every
president
city, you
of
have
Utah
railroads in
Valley
every
University,
biggest
Astrid
railroad,
S.
beautiful railroad. He's
Tuminez.
a great guy. I said, what do you think? He said, sir, save Chicago. Don't let it go down. Save it. The way he said it was so meaningful to me. It was so it was like terrible. In a way, it was terrible. Save Chicago. You know, who would ever think that we'd be sitting here talking about saving Chicago? Chicago's a
Good
great
afternoon.
city. They have a
Thank
terrible
you
mayor.
to all the speakers
Terrible.
and
He's a,
singers
like,
and every
5%
individual
approval
who
rating.
made this Vigil for
Incompetent
Unity
person.
possible
They have an
today.
incompetent governor, in my opinion.
Thank
He's
you
incompetent.
to this beloved
11
community.
people get shot, and
and I
he says
am
crime
looking
is
at
a
all
good
of
shot.
you
I mean, they're
for
losing
your
4, 5, 6
presence
people
as
a
we
week,
mourn.
getting killed by
Thank you for
bullets,
your service
by
and
knives.
kindness in the last
And then he
9
says how
days.
wonderful it is, Chicago. So,
Thank you
well,
for believing in
it
hope
might be wonderful for
and
him.
unity.
I think they're afraid. Look, he's not a stupid
Psalm
guy.
22 opens
I really
with one of
believe
the
they're
most
afraid to say
heartbreaking
that
verses
politically,
in
I guess, from
Scripture.
an ideology
My God,
standpoint, from a
why hast thou
democratic
forsaken me? Why
Vanguard
art
Active
thou
Fixed
so
Income.
far from
Expert
helping
team,
me?
disciplined
And from
risk,
the words
proven
of my
results.
roaring.
Over 90% of Vanguard's active fixed
Shock,
income funds have
grief,
outperformed their peer group
abandonment,
averages over
fear,
the
and
past
and
past 10
hurt
years.
have filled our
Industry-leading
hearts
investments.
since
Vanguard,
September 10.
well on your way.
A father and husband was killed on our campus. A wife and children were left bereft. And
What
thousands
does
in
feel a
our
lot more
own
finished is the opera
UVU
brass. Like
family
it has a music player
experienced
built into the
trauma.
sidebar, and it is perfect. Because it
I
means you're not
express
fumbling
again
around your tabs
my
like
deep
where the hell is
condolences
this music
and
playing
prayers
from.
for
I've just set
peace
mine to be
to
always
the widow
here
of
because the
Charlie
browser
Kirk,
is so modular.
Erica,
Link below to download
her
the opera browser
children,
for free.
and all of Charlie
standpoint,
Kirk's
he's
family
afraid.
and friends.
He is afraid to say
I
the
express
fact
again
that they have a
my
very
love for the
unsafe,
Vigil
very
family
dangerous city.
that has been
He should
hurt.
say, "I'm going to call
As I
President
read my
Donald Trump,
scriptures, I am
and I'm going to ask
astonished
him
that
to
the
send in the
despair in
troops, to
Psalm
send in the
22
National Guard,
is
and clean this
immediately
hellhole
followed
up."
by the hope
Because
of
Chicago
Psalm
can be a great city
23.
again. I'll tell you what, Washington, D.C.
The
is a great
Lord
place
is
again.
my shepherd.
It's
I
booming.
shall not want.
And the restaurants are booming.
He maketh me to lie
And
down in green
6 months ago,
pastures.
7 months ago,
He leadeth
nobody
me
could go
beside the still
outside.
waters.
And even just walking around the
He
White House, people
restoreth my
here
soul.
are thanking me for what
Yea,
I've
though
done.
I walk in
They're
the valley
thanking
of
me.
the
They're saying
shadow of
thank you.
death,
I almost know what
I
they
will
mean
fear no
because they
evil,
can walk to
for
work.
thou art with
And
me.
even when they took
Thy
Uber
rod and
and they
thy
took
staff,
other
they
forms of
comfort me.
transportation, they felt unsafe because the
Thou
car was
preparest a
hijacked while they're in there. They
table
take
before me
a
in the
car
presence of
and it's
mine
being
enemies.
hijacked as they get into the
Thou
car.
anointest
And they
my
did
head
that for
with
safety.
oil. My
And now
cup
we have a safe place.
runneth
Here we've
over.
taken 1,500 people out of
Surely
career
goodness
criminals
and
have been
mercy
taken
shall
out of
follow
Washington,
me all the
D.C.
days of
And we
my
weren't
life.
very nice about it.
What do you
My beloved UVU community, surely goodness and mercy shall follow us all the days of our lives.
I did discuss it, and
I have
I don't want to make a comment on it,
goodness
but
and mercy.
Union Pacific is a great railroad.
Our
and
community,
I wanna
though wounded,
add,
showed up to
a
serve
railroad
one
that-
another.
That had a mistake
We
at a
hugged
place very
each
close
other.
to my heart. You know,
We
A lot of
offered
people
trauma
say
and
that,
mental health support.
That was a place where
We restored belongings.
I got off to a very good
Our law
start.
enforcement partners
It was a
helped
rough
us
thing
feel
that
safe
happened.
again.
Well, they're trying to buy that railroad that had the
Hundreds, if
problem.
not thousands,
And,
offered prayers for peace,
it
clarity,
sounds good to
and
me,
resilience.
to be honest with you. Sounds good to me.
We
I'm a very
listened
big fan
and
of
gave
the
each other patience and grace.
the head of the railroad, the head of the Union Pacific.
Our
He
friends,
started as
neighbors,
a
and visitors
very low
organically
on the totem
created
pole.
memorials,
Started his job very
doing
low
so
and became the chairman of the company
and reverently.
over a 45-year period. But I asked him
I
about
have
different
seen
cities. He said
goodness and mercy.
St. Louis is tough. We try, you know, he sort
Our
of stops it.
faculty, staff, and
Many of
students
them.
returned to
New
campus. Our students described
We
their
have to save New
return
Orleans.
using words
Mr.
like
President, when are you going to get
We're going to be going into New York, too.
violated,
Mr. President,
And we're going to be going
devastated,
in quiet.
sorrowful,
You're really obnoxious.
I'm not obnoxious, but I'm
hurting.
trying to ask you, what about your plans
You are
for
really
At the same
obnoxious.
time,
I'm
they
not
also
obnoxious, but I am
said,
asking, what are your
my
plans for
dream of an
Memphis?
education
I'm
is
not
still
going to talk to you
strong.
until I call on you.
We will get through
So,
it.
who else? Yeah,
My
go ahead.
professors
I
have
just want
supported
to
me.
settle this free speech
I am
question because you
thankful
said
for my
that you
friends,
restored
most
free
of
speech in
whom I
America.
met here
Is
at
that free
UVU.
speech including for people who are
Here,
harshly critical
President,
of you,
have a green
for
heart
your
sticker.
political opponents, for people who say things you don't
I've
like?
become immune to
I have
it.
seen
I've
goodness
become
and
immune
mercy.
to it. There's never been a
UVU
person that's had more
materialized
unfair
suddenly on the world
publicity than me,
stage
and
because
that's
of
why
a
your
grievous
network
act
paid
of
me $15
violence.
million or $16
But
million,
media
I believe,
everywhere
to be exact.
have also
George
told stories
Slopadopoulos.
about the beauty
And that's
of
why
community
CBS paid me a lot of money
on
too.
this campus.
And that's why I
They
sued
have
the New York
featured
Times 2
our
days ago for a
hardworking
lot of
and
money.
resilient
Because
students.
I'm winning. I mean,
They
I'm
have
winning the
narrated
cases. And
ordinary
the
acts
reason
of
I'm winning is
kindness
because you're
that
guilty, John.
underline
You're
the
guilty. ABC is a
extraordinary
terrible
nature
network, a
of
very
human
unfair network,
connection.
and you should be ashamed of
Now the
yourself.
world is beginning
NBC
to
is
see a
equally bad. I
university
don't know who's
community
worse. I think they're equally
that is
bad.
not afraid of differences,
And, you know, for you to stand
where
there and act so
people,
innocent and ask me a
imperfect as we
question like
all
that.
are,
But look,
are willing to
you paid a
believe
big
in
price
and practice
because you were dishonest, John.
exceptional
The reason I
care
won that
for
lawsuit
one
was
another.
because you were dishonest. You were proven to be dishonest. And
The prophet
so
Isaiah
you can't sit
said,
back and just say, oh,
"How
well, what do you think?
beautiful
You know,
upon
like
the
you're
mountains are
some
the
wonderful
feet of
person.
him
You're not a wonderful
that
person.
bringeth
Frankly,
good
you're a
tidings,
terrible reporter.
that
You
publisheth
know it, and so do I.
peace."
Okay.
And I St. Francis of
Here's what we're
Assisi,
going to do.
friend of
We're
brother,
going to talk
sun,
about
and
something
sister
that's going to
moon,
reduce our
and of all
taxes
God's
greatly.
creation.
That's going to
And
hopefully
this is
bring
his
some
prayer.
great people into our country. You know, as you know,
Lord,
right now nobody's coming
make
in
me an
because
instrument of
we've
your
succeeded
peace.
in closing. We've closed the border very successfully. I think you will
Where
agree.
there is hatred,
we had
let me
nobody
sow love.
come in for the last few months. I mean,
Where
it
there
was
is
actually said
injury,
zero.
pardon.
Even I can't believe zero, but the numbers are put out by
Where there is
very
doubt,
impartial
faith.
people or people that
Where there
have a
is
tendency to be on the
despair,
left.
hope.
And they actually said for the last
Where
3
there
months,
is
nobody came in.
darkness,
We have a very
light.
strong border. It's a closed
Where
border.
there is
People are
sadness,
coming into our country,
joy.
but they're coming in legally. It's a beautiful thing to
Let
watch.
me
But
end
we are
with a
doing
call
something
to
where,
action.
rather than coming into the
First,
border, 25 million
Let
people
us
came
be
into our
grateful
country
for our broken hearts.
during Biden. one of the
They
saddest
may be
things.
broken for different reasons.
The worst thing.
But the pain
Look,
is the
he was
same.
horrible in inflation. He was horrible in just about everything
The
you
poet
could be.
Rumi
I don't think he was
said,
good on. He wasn't even
"These
fair
pains
on
you
anything.
feel
He was
are
it was a horrible
messengers.
administration.
Listen to them. Our broken hearts soften us to connect with one another as humans, as citizens and residents of Utah and America, and as children of the divine. In prayer, let us openly say, "Thank you, God, for my broken heart." Second, in the coming days, weeks, and months, let us pause and slow down when anger rises in our hearts towards those we think might be our enemy. Let's ask ourselves, what do I have in common with them? Is there a family member, a colleague, classmate, or neighbor I need to get to know better and forgive? What small step can I take to mend what is broken? And third, and finally, I ask you to support UVU and be patient with us as we recover from this tragedy. We will help every student succeed. We will offer opportunities for skills building in dialogue, peacemaking, and hard conversations. We have a long and difficult road ahead, and we can only succeed if we unite. I am honored to be a part of this beloved community, and I urge each of us to remember that love can be stronger than fear. May peace, love, and grace heal us in all the parts that we are broken. Thank you so much with all my heart. Thank you.
We welcome the Utah Valley Interfaith Choir.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace
We welcome UVU Student Body President Kyle Cullimore.
Thank you so much for the beautiful music. The words we just heard, "Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now." What a powerful phrase, and what a much needed plea in this moment. But let's be honest, peace feels so hard to talk about right now. How do we talk about peace when our hearts are heavy? How do we talk about peace when fear, hurt, and pain still feel so close? I believe peace begins with something simple, yet so powerful: hope. I don't mean a shallow or a surface level kind of hope that ignores the reality of the tragedy that happened on our campus, or the kind that just tells us to move on. I mean the kind of hope that we can find only when we willingly search the very depths of our souls. The kind of hope that tells us that even though we've all been through something dark, we know the sun will rise again. The kind of hope that doesn't erase our pain, but helps us carry it and turn it into something beautiful. That hope is what allows us to keep going, to reach out, to look beyond ourselves and see one another, not just in the easy times, but especially in these harder, darker times. This past week and a half has reminded me of how fragile life can be. In a couple of seconds, countless lives were changed. The tragedy on our campus has reminded me that violence doesn't just happen out there in the world somewhere. It doesn't touch me, but it can touch so much closer than we've even imagined. It has touched our campus. It has touched our classrooms, our friends, and our families. It has reminded us how deeply, in times of need, we utterly and desperately need each other. As many of us here, students, faculty, staff, community members, learned so unfortunately, is that when you're running for your life, scared, and not knowing what's going to happen, those differences between us that used to seem so big turn into something so small. Why? Why does it take a tragedy for us to look and see that at the end of the day, we're all human? Why do we wait for a wife and children to lose their husband and father to say enough? And how in a time of tragedy, instead of coming together, do we continue to attack and isolate one another? In moments like this, it can be tempting to close ourselves off, to build walls around our pain, to put blame on one person or on one opinion, or sometimes on a whole group of people. We as a community need to stop villainizing those we may not understand, we may disagree with, or may have been hurt from. We must stop putting labels on one another. All these labels do is divide us and limit how we see one another. When we treat each other based on these labels we give, that divide continues to grow and grow and grow. It becomes easier to dehumanize each other because we don't remember the basic truth that we are all humans, endowed with the inherent right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Peace, real peace, is never found in isolation or in blame, or most importantly, in violence. It's found in community. One of the things to me that makes UVU so special, that I've devastated for students in our community here, is that we live by a promise that this is a place for you, for each of us, no matter where we come from, what we believe, or how we see the world, this was a place where we all belonged. And this is still a place where we all belong. We need to ensure that the phrase, "a place for you," does not just stay a cute promise or the saying that we have on the wall, but we make it more than just these words. It must become something that we live. Living it means choosing to see one another not as enemies, not as these stereotypes, and most importantly, not less than someone deserving of life, but as people, as fellow human beings, a person with stories, a person with families, a person with struggles, but most importantly, a person with dreams. Too often we fall into this trap that convinces us that we're divided into sides, that we're enemies because we disagree, or because we see the world differently. But here, in this community, here at UVU, we have the chance to be something different. We can show the world what it means to listen. We can be the kind of place where disagreement doesn't erase our dignity, where differences don't erase our humanity. We can be an example to a hurt community and an even more broken nation. My invitation tonight is simple. Let's not let this tragedy define us and this university and this community that we love. But let's define this moment by how we will respond. Myself, as well as countless others, have been deeply, deeply impacted from this experience. If it feels too much or too heavy, know that you're not alone. And please make sure you reach out to a professional for help. But I wish to share one feeling I've had, and it's this feeling of being shaken up. For those that were on campus that day, you probably felt that same shaken up. Since we're a university, I feel like it's appropriate to share some insights from physics and psychology that I've had. In physics, there's a law called the law of conservation of energy. Right? This law states that energy isn't created or destroyed, but instead it transforms. In psychology, Sigmund Freud, a significant figure in psychology, shares an example of an emotional hydraulics, stating that our instincts or emotions can build up, creating a sense of pressure and energy waiting to be released. And we must learn how we can revert that emotion into action instead of allowing it to eventually become too much to control. I realized maybe these feelings aren't fully bad, to be shaken up, to be confused, to be conflicted, to be in fear. Maybe it's in this moment where we feel shaken, where we feel unsure, or we don't know what to do, that we have to make the most important decision. I have to be proactive and redirect these feelings of pain, these feelings of guilt, these feelings of fear, everything in between, and turn it into action, which I commit to you that I will be doing. The question I would ask everyone here is, are we going to shake ourselves into action? Are we going to allow these feelings to shut us down and continue to further this divide? Like I said, I'm choosing to be shaken into action, to build relationships instead of hostility, to strive for understanding instead of judgment, and to give grace instead of punishment. I'm also choosing to have hope. Hope in you. Hope that everyone here tonight, that we move forward together and show the nation what it means to love your neighbor. Let's show the community, the nation, and the world what our core principle of exceptional care looks like, by how we show compassion before casting judgment, by how we decide to listen instead of assume, by how we embody resilience even when we feel our hope is lost. We have a new responsibility, whether you were ready for it or not. When someone in our community feels invisible, let's be the one who notices. When someone feels overwhelmed, let's be the one who sits and listens. When someone feels alone, let's be the one who sits beside them. Because in those small and those simple and those ordinary actions is where we will find extraordinary peace. And I can promise you that. Because the past couple of days, when I've seen myself, my fellow students, and every single stranger on our campus lean into their humanity and decide to love first, I've seen spirits rise, bringing our whole community with them. But it takes each of us. I hope one day, when we look back on this time, we don't only remember the fear and the loss. I hope we also remember the moments of kindness, the moments of courage, the moments when we chose to see each other as human and chose to walk forward together despite our differences. That is how peace begins. That is how hope grows, and that is how healing will truly happen. So tonight, let's make this our moment. Let peace begin with me. Let peace begin with us, with you. Let peace begin with us, and let this be the moment now. As we come to the close of this vigil, I want to acknowledge the individuals that will be joining me on the stage. We have students from around our university who will be taking position on the choir stands in the back, as well as the student body presidents from all around our state: Utah State University, Weber State University, the University of Utah, Westminster University, Salt Lake Community College, Brigham Young University, Snow College, Southern Utah University, and Utah Tech University. I also want to take the time to acknowledge each one of you who gathered here tonight with us, or those that are watching from afar. Your being here is a reminder that even in the hardest times and in these hardest moments, we do not face them alone. We are all here to join in this movement. A moment where we together commit to unity. A moment where we together commit to healing. A moment where we together commit to humanity. Together, we have grieved. But we have also remembered what humanity can look like. And we have chosen to stand as a community that believes in peace, in dignity, and in the power of hope. In your hands, please take out your candle. And if you haven't so, join us in lighting our candle. And as we light them together, let these flames represent more than this simple night. Let them be a promise that we will carry this light into the places where darkness lingers. That we will keep choosing compassion even when it is hard. That we will see each other as humans first. As you light, lift your candle high, and if you're able, please stand with us. Words of unity, of peace, of respect. Be sure to not let them only stay on this screen above us, but allow them to find a place in your hearts and in our daily lives. And as we leave tonight, may these small lights remind us of a greater truth, that peace can begin here with us. And let this truly be the moment now where hope rises, where healing begins, and where we walk forward together. Thank you.
On behalf of Utah Valley University, thank you for being with us this afternoon. As we conclude the Vigil for Unity, we remember Charlie Kirk, and we hold his family, our students, and our community in our hearts. May we carry forward the spirit of peace, respect, and unity into the days ahead. Please exit peacefully and take care of one another.
Doesn't sound good, but Washington was the most dangerous place in this country, and now, you know what? It's probably the safest place in our country. Everyone's starting to come here. The restaurants now you can't get in. Many of them closed because they couldn't open with crime. Everybody before me is happy what I'm doing. Most of you won't say that because you're radical left. The newspapers are so dishonest. The press is totally dishonest, but that's all right. We've gotten used to it. And we won in a landslide, so they obviously lost their power. I mean, it's impossible to imagine that when you get 97% negative stories, purposely negative stories, even though you've done 97% positive things, that you could win an election in a landslide, winning all 7. Think of it, all 7 swing states, winning by the popular vote by millions of votes. We had a fantastic. The best is your districts out of 3,000 districts. I guess we won 3,500. We won 2,750.
Designed with a 2 terabyte SanDisk Creator Series phone SSD, magnetically attached and ready to record and store 4K video. This is SanDisk Memory Man. Power on.
Hello, humans. It's me, SanDisk Memory Man. My mission? To help SanDisk aid real human creators. I will be the camera. I will be the drive. Human Creator Study Mission initiated.
And they won 500. And that's, to me, the best of all. And we had tremendous in every way, the election. And it's hard to believe you can do that when you have a corrupt media. But many of you are corrupt, and it's nothing we can do about it. But we keep winning, and we're going to keep winning. And this whole story on crime is incredible that the Democrats wouldn't be with us. So the mayor of Chicago, I watched him this morning, he said, Trump doesn't know what he's talking about. He only apprehended 9 people. Well, number one, that's false. It's thousands. We'll get into that. But more importantly than anything, we took guns away. We have some of the worst career professionals out of the country already. They've been taken out of the country, and some are in solid confinement because these were killers. We arrested some very bad people. And in the last 11 days, again, I hate to say it because it sounds so ridiculous, but in the last 11 days, we've had no murders. And that's the first time that's taken place in years, actually years. We always have a murder a week. They call it a murder a week. You come here from Iowa, you come here from Indiana, you come here from Idaho, because you're so proud of your country, you love your country, and then you get murdered. Your son gets murdered, your daughter gets murdered, you get murdered. See the media, you get murdered. Many of you have been mugged in Washington, you just don't want to talk about it. And I know that every time I do this with you, you almost everything, but every time I do this with you, people are saying to yourselves, he's right, and then you write a negative story. But we are doing an incredible job. The people behind me are amazing. We're working very well with the Washington police, as you know. The DC National Guard is unbelievable. We're also getting tremendous help from Secret Service. And we are at a point where Washington is booming again. People are pouring in like we haven't seen for years. Nobody wanted to come here. They didn't want to come here and get murdered. I have a friend of mine who has a very successful son. And I said, where is your son going to be this weekend? He said, he's going to Washington with his friends. I said, really? Yeah, he's wanted to do it for 4 years, but he couldn't do it because it was so unsafe. And he's a tough kid, too. It's so unsafe. And he ended up staying 3 nights, going out to restaurants all 3 nights. He said it was so beautiful, so peaceful, because all the criminals are either arrested or they're hiding, and we're finding the ones that are hiding. So I want to thank Pam Bondi. I want to thank our Vice President. I want to thank everybody standing behind me because they are really, Gaddy, you've been unbelievable, by the way. They have done an unbelievable job. They're working 24 hours a day, and Washington, D.C. is now in great shape. I'm going to be working with Clark Construction, which is by far your biggest construction company. And we're going to also beautify Washington. We're going to rip down the broken medians, fix them. We're going to put asphalt on the roads. We're not ripping them apart like these stupid people do. They rip a road down to the dirt, and then they spend 5 years in building the new one, and then it starts settling. You know, the whole thing is so crazy. And they'll spend hundreds of millions of dollars on a road. I'll spend about $2, and it'll look better. So we're going to be replacing medians. We're going to be replacing much of the asphalt in the road, which in the city, which is in bad shape. We have great stripers. We have great contractors, but we have to let them do the thing. The Congress has said that they'll give us whatever money is needed to fix up the Capitol. This is the Capitol. And we're not going to spend a lot. It's going to go fast, and it will be spotless. And we want it spotless for the World Cup and for the Olympics. You saw the World Cup was here the other day. And come to think of it, there's your trophy for the World Cup. In fact, it's solid gold. That's actually solid gold, so heavy that some of the people in this room wouldn't be able to lift it up. I think what I'm going to do is place it right above the angel, right over there. That's solid gold, too. We're going to put it right up there. Look at that. There's a solid gold trophy. They know how to get to me, you know. I like the angel better, to be honest with you. So we're going to sign, and then we'll take a few questions, and we'll tell you how good a job we're doing. We want to go from here to other places, but I was telling some of the people that in a certain way, you really want to be asked to go. You know, I hate to barge in on a city and then be treated horribly by corrupt politicians and bad politicians, like a guy like Pritzker. He ought to spend more time in the gym, actually. This guy is a disaster. Gavin Newsom's a disaster. When we went, we saved Los Angeles. You wouldn't have been able to have the Olympics in Los Angeles. You're barely able to have it now. They did lose 25,000 houses to a fire that should have never occurred, because they didn't let the water come down from the Pacific Northwest, which you guys don't want to write about. I had to break into the water supply to let the water down. And even now, we want more. We can have much more. It's less than half of what should be coming in.
Mr. Boots.
It's okay. I'll just grab the backup stakes.
Backup stakes? How do you afford that, moneybags?
The lowest prices of any national grocery store.
Well, fair enough.
It's an Aldi thing.
If you were a stay-at-home spouse, you might wonder if you qualify for Social Security benefits. I get asked this question all the time, and the short answer is yes. Let me tell you how it works. You'll need to be 62 or older, and your spouse must be collecting benefits already. You and your spouse generally must be married for at least a year, and when it comes to your benefit, you'll get about a third to a half of your spouse's full monthly benefit. It is important to know that you can't collect both your own benefit and a spousal benefit. Social Security will pay the amount that's higher. To learn more about spousal benefits, go to aarp.org/Social Security.
I don't know, they have a political thing about it. It's like the craziest thing I've ever seen. But I don't like going to a town, a city, place, a state, and then be criticized by some corrupt or incompetent governor where crime is rampant. Like, take a look at D.C. Crime was rampant. It was at the all-time worst. It got really bad during the Biden 4 years. And then I have a mayor stand up and say how crime has reached a 30-year low. 30-year low. People are being killed left and right. And it's not a 30-year low. Think of it. So for 11 days, there's been no murders. The record goes back years where that's happened. They haven't seen that happen in years. And then people stand up, and instead of thanking us, which they should do, and she's not that bad. She's better than most. But, you know, you have people, I watched in Illinois, Chicago, Illinois is a disaster. I have property there. It's a disaster what's going on in Chicago. And you get Pritzker, he's violating our rights. I think this is another men and women's sports thing. I think this is one of those, you know, they call them 80-20 issues. I call them 97-3. I think the Democrats better get smart. And, you know, politically, I hope they don't. But actually, in terms of love for the country, I hope they do, because it would be good to work together. So I'm thinking about, you know, when I have some slob like Pritzker criticizing us before we even go there. I made the statement that next should be Chicago, because as you all know, Chicago is a killing field right now. And they don't acknowledge it. And they say, we don't need him, freedom, freedom. He's a dictator, he's a dictator. A lot of people are saying maybe we like a dictator. I don't like a dictator. I'm not a dictator. I'm a man with great common sense, and I'm a smart person. And when I see what's happening to our cities, and then you send in troops, instead of being praised, they're saying you're trying to take over the republic. These people are sick. But I'm really saying, and I say this to all of you, in a certain way, we should wait to be asked, because they have cities that are so under control, you know, out of control. So we go in and fix it. They take the full credit for it, and they go out and say, I heard it this morning, they're saying how well they've done over the last 10-day period, that they set record lows. They don't say that we're there with very tough people, by the way. They have to pass the toughness test. Otherwise, they're not working for us. So, and we're allowed to do that now according to the United States Supreme Court decision. Now, they have to pass a toughness test. If they're not tough, we don't want them for this job. They might be great for other jobs, but not for this job, because they're respected. You saw the gang of kids. They were all huddled up, and a group of soldiers walked up. They never even got over. Those kids ran back to their homes or wherever the hell they came from. They were gone. This is one of the safest cities right now in the world, as crazy as that sounds. And it took 7 days. It took really 3 days, but we're now in our 11th day. So I want to thank you. So we had all of these things, 439 illegal alien criminals have been removed, and we have 6 known gang members, some of the worst leaders of gangs anywhere in the country, MS-13 and Tren de Aragua. We have 2 missing children that have been recovered. They thought they were gone. We brought them back to the family. The family started crying. They couldn't believe that they saw their child again. 49 homeless encampments have been removed. Like, we have the head of South Korea coming in a little while, the president, and he drives down the street. Already, his people have told me, he said, what happened? It's so clean. We always came here, it was filthy dirty with homeless and papers all over the road. That's the other thing. Those roads are swept immaculate, but they're going to be much better in a few months when we put a topping on them. They're going to look like they're brand new. We'll get rid of those rusty old medians that have been crashed into 1,000 times, and they don't fix them. They just let them, they lay them down on the road, and they sit there for months. But we don't do that. We don't run things. We run things like we run this. We like clean, we like beautiful, and we like safe, and that's what we're getting. So I'll start signing the executive orders. To me, this is a very, very big deal. One of the executive orders has to do with cashless bail. That was when the big crime in this country started. And I can tell you who did it, when, but I don't want to do that because others followed pretty quickly. But that was when it happened. Somebody kills somebody, they go in, don't worry about it, no cash, come back in a couple of months, we'll give you a trial. You never see the person again. And I mean, they kill people and they get out. Cashless bail. They thought it was discriminatory to make people put up money because they just killed 3 people lying on a street. Any street all over the country, cashless bail. We're ending it, but we're starting by ending it in DC, and that we have the right to do through federalization. Okay, let's go. Could I ask you to say exactly what this is?
Of course. So as you've consistently identified, sir, cashless bail policies are a key driver of the disorder we see on city streets all over America. Catch and release system allows criminals to keep going back out onto the street and reoffending. What this executive order does, it charges your attorney general with identifying jurisdictions all over the country that have cashless bail policies, and then it withholds or revokes federal funds and grants that are flowing to those jurisdictions to ensure that we're only supporting the people who have reasonable common sense policies around crime.
So what area does it cover?
Potentially anywhere that has a cashless bail policy. So some of the largest cities, some of the most left-wing states in America
Almost
have adopted.
all of them, right?
Illinois would be a great example of that, sir.
Oh, they have a great cashless bail. You don't even have to go to court sometimes. No, Illinois, I love that state. It's a great state, but it's run so badly by Pritzker. They threw him out of the family business and he becomes governor.
Life doesn't wait, and neither should you. Aleve can help you deal with pain less throughout your day. Whether it's a long day on your feet, a demanding workout, or everyday aches and pains, you need relief that can keep up when pain persists. Aleve is here for you with longer-lasting body pain relief compared to leading OTC branded pain relievers. With just one pill, Aleve lasts up to 12 hours. Don't let those aches hold you back from doing what's important to you. Use as directed.
Now he wants to run for president. I don't think that's going to happen. Okay, we'll sign right here, right?
Sir.
So important. And this isn't Republican, Democrat. This is, and by the way, most Democrats agree with us. But this is just, we got to bring our country back. Okay? That's a big one.
Also on the issue of cashless bail, sir, this is a DC-specific executive order. In addition to the measures that we're taking that are quite similar to what we're doing around the country, in DC in particular, the objective is holding as many criminal defendants in federal custody and subjecting them to federal charges as possible. That means that they'll be held pre-trial in federal jail as opposed to just being cut back out on the streets due to a cashless bail policy.
Okay? And we have the room. And by the way, the prison they have in DC is horrible. It's horrible. People were subjected to live in that dog trap for so long, so unfairly. I have stories, you'll be hearing about them. That prison is horrible. Okay?
This is an executive order that contains a number of additional measures relating to crime and law enforcement in Washington, D.C. It charges, for example, your Secretary of Defense with establishing specialized units in both the D.C. National Guard and in National Guard units around the country, specifically trained and equipped to deal with public order issues. It charges all of your various federal law enforcement agencies with hiring additional personnel to allow them to surge personnel to Washington, D.C. to deal with the current emergency here. It does a number of other things in that space, and it also asks the Attorney General to look at D.C. Metropolitan Police general orders that have currently impeded law enforcement efforts in the city, and to potentially look at unwinding those that are stopping the police from doing their job effectively.
And are we going to ask this to be codified by Congress, all of these things?
I think we could potentially, yes, sir.
I think so. I think we should. I think we'll get it to. I think Democrats will vote. Well, it's hard to believe that they might not, but I think Democrats will actually vote for this. There's no auto pen that can do that, right? Look at that, Pam. Is that a good signature? Seriously, is that a good signature? Who can write like that? Nobody. I don't know. That's the other thing. I assume we're looking at the whole auto pen scam.
Sir.
Because the person that ran it said he spoke to it briefly twice about nothing. That means that all those pardons that he gave to some very bad people, very unpatriotic people, very evil people, it looks to me like those pardons are worthless. Because number one, you shouldn't use an auto pen very specifically. But if you do, it has to be a very good reason. And they have to know that the president wanted it. The president didn't want this. The president didn't know he was alive, okay? He never approved any of this stuff. He wasn't for open borders and all the other things. He was never for open borders. I've known Biden a long time. He was never very sharp, but he was never in favor of open borders and all of the other things he did to destroy our country. Let's go.
Lastly, sir, this is an executive order on flag burning. It charges your attorney general.
Would you listen to this? This is very important. Flag burning. All over the country, they're burning flags. All over the world, they burn the American flag. And as you know, through a very sad court, I guess it was a 5-4 decision, they called it freedom of speech. But there's another reason which is perhaps much more important. It's called death. Because what happens when you burn a flag is the area goes crazy. If you have hundreds of people, they go crazy. You can do other things. You can burn this piece of paper. But when you burn the American flag, it incites riots at levels that we've never seen before. People go crazy. In a way, both ways. There are some that are going crazy for doing it. There are others that are angry about them doing it. Do you want to discuss that?
Sure. So what the executive order does, sir, it charges your Department of Justice with investigating instances of flag burning, and then where there's evidence of criminal activity, where prosecution wouldn't fall afoul of the First Amendment, and instructs the Department of Justice to prosecute those who are engaged in these instances of flag burning.
And what the penalty is going to be, if you burn a flag, you get 1 year in jail. No early exits, no nothing. You get 1 year in jail. If you burn a flag, and what it does is incite to riot. I hope they use that language, by the way. Did they?
Yeah, incitement is
incite to riot. And you burn a flag, you get 1 year in jail. You don't get 10 years, you don't get 1 month. You get 1 year in jail, and it goes on your record.
Nationwide is so much more than a great insurance company. They're one of America's largest financial services companies. Like how I'm more than Saquon Barkley, the NFL's reigning leading rusher. I'm also the NFL's leading husher. Shh, hush up back there. Wow, I might have just set the hushing record. Well, almost. For your insurance and financial needs, Nationwide is on your side.
Nationwide Investment Services Corporation, member FINRA, Columbus, Ohio.
And you will see flag burning stopping immediately, just like when I signed the Statute and Monument Act. 10 years in jail if you hurt any of our beautiful monuments. Everybody left town. They were gone. Never had a problem after that. It's pretty amazing. We stopped it. But this is something that's, I don't know, in a certain way, it's equally as important. Some people would say it's more important. Because the people in this country don't want to see our American flag burned and spit on. And by people that are, in many cases, paid agitators. They're paid by the radical left to do it. You talk to these people, they don't even know, half of them don't even know what they're doing. They say, I don't know, they gave me money to do this. I see the same things that you do. They're bad people. They're trying to destroy our nation. That's not working, because I think our nation now is the most respected nation anywhere in the world, by far. You saw that with the European leaders on Friday. You saw that with NATO, where they agreed to go from 2% no pay to 5% fully paid up, trillions of dollars paid, where they respect your president to a level that they jokingly call me the president of Europe. They call me the president of Europe, which is an honor. I like Europe, and I like those people. They're good people. They're great leaders. And we've never had a case where 7 plus really 28, essentially 38 countries were represented here the other day. 38 European countries were represented. European and other countries were represented. And it was a great meeting. But your country is respected again. I say it all the time. 1 year ago, our country was dead. Everybody said it. We had a dead country. We were not going to survive. Now we have the hottest country anywhere in the world. So it's an honor to be involved. And this group has a lot to do with it, right behind me. Does anybody behind me have anything? Pam, would you like to say something?
Sure, President. Thank you for keeping D.C. safe. You know, just a couple examples of a mother, a single mom, whose house was burglarized, and the defendant got out on cashless bail, went back the next night and burglarized her house again. That's why this is so important. A man got in a fight with another guy. He had a gun. He was let out. Next night, he got out, went back, and killed him. So that's why it's so important, President, what you're doing. And thank you for protecting the American flag. And we'll do that without running afoul of the First Amendment as well. And President, I think I think Gaddy Serralta had something he wanted to give you on behalf of all the law enforcement who are out there every single night.
Yes.
Thank you for putting me in charge of this surge as the Director of the United States Marshal Service. It's the oldest law enforcement agency. It was created in 1789. So on behalf of all the federal law enforcement agencies that we're working with and those that have yet to join the team, we thought it was only appropriate to present you with an honorary United States Marshal Service badge. And this badge comes with this little item right here, which is a handcuff key, Mr. President, because you continue through your policies and your efforts with your staff to unhandcuff law enforcement officers all over this nation. And I can tell you personally that they thank you for that.
Thank you. That's beautiful.
You can continue unhandcuffing law enforcement.
That's a very great honor. I'll save that and put it someplace up, which is important. Thank you very much, Gary. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Really nice. Thank you. That's very nice. Thank you. Well, we love those people. They're brave and they love our country and they don't want to see it. Do you know how many people volunteered for this job? And before I ask the VP to say a few words, because he feels very strongly about it, I think it's very important, Pam, that when we do this, that a state they come and ask us. I mean, I see Pritzker saying, we don't want them. In the meantime, his city is being shot to hell. And they do that politically. And they probably do want it. If we didn't go to Los Angeles, you would literally have had to call off the Olympics. It was so bad. And the sheriff and the law enforcement people, but the sheriff said, and he came out very strongly, he said, if we didn't have these people, we were not able to control it. Now, 4 days later, after we had it totally under control, we did that quickly. He changed his tune a little bit. Well, I think we could have done it, you know. They were dead. If we didn't send in the troops, Los Angeles was dead, the Olympics was gone, the World Cup was gone, everything was gone. We did a great job. And Newsom, he's an incompetent governor. But I think people should want us to be there because otherwise all they'll do is complain as we do our job. So we'll have to think about that, okay? We go in, like in Washington, we go in and the people that are here that have been doing, I don't want to say terrible because she happens, you know, she's a nice woman, I guess. I don't care about if she's nice, you know, I really don't care. I want her to do, I'd rather have her be horrible but do the job. But we come into Washington and we have the 11 best days they've had here in 2 centuries. I mean, they've never seen anything like it. Let's go 2 decades. In over 20 years, they haven't seen anything like what happened. And now they're out there saying, we don't have crime in Washington. Well, that's true. For 11 days, you don't have crime. But before that, everybody was getting hit and mugged, and you people could not walk to your office without security. That's how unsafe it was. So I think we should really let them have their city, let their city go to hell, and when they come and beg us to help.
That sun-drenched breeze, that mid-afternoon champagne glow. You'd think our old stories wouldn't still make us laugh this hard, but they only get better. Now we're all making new ones together. And I truly can't remember the last time I danced as hard as I did last night. Virgin Voyages really knows how to throw a party. Next time, you definitely have to be here.
The only problem is we want to save it for the people, because the people want us there. The people here, 95% of the people here want us. The real people, not the people you find on, I don't know where you find these people. You have one person that has a broken nose. Where'd you get it? Well, I was mugged. Good. Do you want to see Trump here with? No, I don't want. The woman has a broken nose. She got mugged. But she's saying she doesn't want any protection. It's all made up fake news. It's just fake news. I don't know where you find these people. Anyway, would you say a couple of words, please? And then I'm going to ask JD to say something. You have done an unbelievable job in a short period of time.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Highly recommended by you know who, right?
Yes, sir.
Do you want to say his name?
Mr. Youngkin, Governor Youngkin. Yes, sir.
We stole you from Governor
He called
Youngkin.
me.
Right.
He called me. Glenn Youngkin called, and he said, "I have somebody who's really fantastic." And based on that recommendation, here you are. You've done a fantastic job. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Go ahead.
The men and women of the Metropolitan Police Department are back. They enjoy doing their job again. They feel the ability to go out and be law enforcement officers. They feel that they're connected to their communities again. They are making a difference. Thanks to you, Mr. President, and our federal task force, you are making DC safe once again.
Good.
Thank you, sir.
It's going to get better and better. Well, it can't get much better. There's no crime. I read where crime's down 89%. I said, really? Who are the 11%? Okay? There's no crime. JD, please.
Yes, sir. Well, thanks, Mr. President. Thanks to the incredible team here. You know, I want to echo something the President said, where you say there haven't been murders in a couple of weeks in D.C., and it doesn't sound good, but then you talk to local law enforcement, and I didn't realize that this town averaged one murder every other day for the last 20, 30 years, which means that in 2 short weeks, the President and the team have saved 6 or 7 lives, people who would have been killed on the streets of D.C., who are now living, breathing, spending time with their families, because the President had the willpower to say, no more. We're not going to give the streets of D.C. over to vagrants and robbers and murderers. And the last point I want to make, sir, to your point about we want people to welcome us, to ask us, because look at Governor Pritzker in Illinois, or Governor Newsom in Los Angeles, or Governor Moore in Maryland. They are angrier about the fact that the President of the United States is offering to help them get their crime under control than they are about the fact that murderers are running roughshod over their cities and have been for decades. Why are Democrat governors angrier about federal law enforcement helping clean up their streets than they are about the fact that those streets need to be cleaned up to begin with? It shows a real sickness in the head. And I agree with the President of the United States. I think most Democrats, rank and file, nobody likes crime. Republicans don't like crime. Democrats don't like crime. Independents don't like crime. Why are Democratic governors doing everything in their power to make crime easier to do in their cities? It doesn't make an ounce of sense to me. But, Mr. President, I appreciate you being willing to help. And I hope these governors take you up on the offer, because we should clean up all of America's streets. It's the right of every American to live in safety and comfort in their community.
And we've got the people to do it. They're signing up like they've never signed up before. Our military, as you know, during the campaign, nobody was signing up. We were way short of their goal, we were understaffed. Nobody wanted to be in the military. Nobody wanted to be a policeman. Nobody wanted to be a fireman. They didn't want anything to do with the country. We had an incompetent, grossly incompetent president who frankly should not have been there. He should have never been there. The damage he did to this country is incalculable. I mean, just what he has done. So much of our effort are getting murderers and jailbirds and people out of this country who are drug dealers at the highest level. So much of the energy of people that he let in, it was an unforced error. But I don't think they think it's an error. But I don't believe he believed it. It was the radical lunatics that surrounded this guy at this desk, who are brilliant people, but with the wrong philosophy. There were some brilliant people, but they're evil people, and they're going to be brought down. They have to be brought down because they really hurt our country. But we're getting it back very quickly. And I'll tell you something, our country's now it's stronger. I think we're more respected than we've been respected in 100 years. It's a whole different ballgame. JD, could I ask you,
yes, sir.
You gave a stat on murders here. What were the numbers? You said in a short period of time, how many people were murdered?
Local law enforcement told me, sir, that in the past 20 or 30 years, DC has averaged a murder every other day. That's, 200 murders a year, 150, 250, but about every other day a person has been killed on the streets of Washington, D.C. We've been doing this for 2 weeks. 0 people killed. That's real lives saved that the media and frankly the entire Democratic Party should be saying, thank you for saving lives instead of attacking the President of the United States for doing so.
You know, when a person, unfortunately, will probably happen at some point, when a person's murdered in D.C., it's going to be the biggest story maybe in history. Right?
Yes, sir.
Somebody was murdered in D.C. Trump is failing. No, we're not failing. We have a safe city. This is maybe the safest city in America right now. That's how good it is. And it would be nice to be appreciated. These people eventually, they're going to have to be appreciated for what they're doing. And they're going to have to be appreciated by the officials that are really happy when we go in because they've lost control of their place. Steve Miller, please, say a few words.
Thank you, sir. So just to, first of all, follow up on what the Vice President said.
Well, I was down on my last dollar, then I started saving because the bank said fiscal restraint is what you're craving. So I put my earnings in a high yield account. Let the savings compound and the interest mount. I'm optimizing cash flow, putting debt in check now. Time is my friend and not a pain in the neck. And we've got a little cash to rebuild the old debt.
Boring money moves make kind of lame songs, but they sound pretty sweet to your wallet. PNC Bank, brilliantly boring since 1865.
No police officer working in the city can remember a time in their lives when there has been no murders. You can work at the police department for 20 years, 30 years, your whole life. We've checked the records. No one can even find a record of being murder-free for as long as we've been murder-free under President Trump's leadership. Additionally, and the President spoke about this before, we've uncovered, in the process of uncovering, a massive scandal in Washington, D.C. with the doctoring of crime stats. And the Department of Justice, under the Attorney General, is leading the effort to uncover this. But when we ultimately share the results, it will stun you. The extent to which, even though D.C. had the worst crime in America, honestly measured, it dramatically understated how bad it was. There's even accusations that murders and homicides were reported as accidents instead of murders. I mean, this is how severe the manipulation of the crime data has been in this city, and it will all be uncovered and it will all be brought to light. You know, I've had a chance to spend some time, as has everyone here, with the police officers in the city. Members of the public are going up to them and thanking them, just overflowing with gratitude, because for the first time in their lives, they can use the parks, they can walk on the streets. You have people who can walk freely at night without having to worry about being robbed or mugged. They're wearing their watches again. They're wearing jewelry again. They're carrying purses again. People had changed their whole lives in this city for fear of being murdered, mugged, and carjacked. It is a literal statement that President Trump has freed 700,000 people in this city who were living under the rule of criminals and thugs. And the last thing I'll say is that under the efforts of Terry, to my left and many here, what they found also is that the street criminals here in Washington, D.C. were doing business directly with the transnational criminal cartels, the foreign terrorist organizations. So not only was the city being run by these criminal thugs, but they were working with some of the most dangerous terrorist organizations on the planet to traffic weapons and drugs into this city. And what we are uncovering every day is shocking to us, and we look forward to sharing all the results with you. But President Trump, your leadership has uncovered some of the great public safety scandals of our life, and now because of you, people are safe and free for the first time ever in this city.
Thank you very much, Steve. You know, in Los Angeles, Beverly Hills is, a great place. I have a house there. I had a house there. I used to spend a lot of time there. And a great place. Do you know that I have friends, they leave their trunk open for their car because they know they're going to be vandalized. They don't want the trunk ripped off in order for them to steal what's in the back. They leave the doors open so when they go in to steal the radio or whatever they take, that they don't rip off the door. They leave the doors totally open so the criminals, when they go and open the door, they don't have to break the windows and kill the car in order to steal whatever it is in the car that they're looking for. And that's at a level that nobody's ever seen before. Nobody lives like that. I have another friend, he has a garage, and in order to save his garage door, he leaves it open. so that people can just walk into his garage, take whatever they want, and leave. But all the cars are, so many cars, I've been told this by many people, stars, big people, they leave their doors open so the doors aren't destroyed by these criminals. All over Los Angeles this is taking place. And you know that. I mean, you've heard that. Christy, could you say a few words? Please?
Sure. Well, Mr. President, I think one of the most impactful statistics that you used today was of the 1,000 arrests that have happened already so far, 439 of them were illegal criminals, which means they never should have been in this country to begin with. But they were in this country, invaded over our southern border or our northern border or maritime seas, and then they committed crimes against the American people. So by getting those individuals incarcerated, we've stopped those violent crimes from happening here in the city. And sir, they do. Exactly like Stephen was talking, they have ties to cartels. They have networks across this country and other cities. So by what you're doing here is going to have a ripple effect in Miami, in Chicago, in other cities, because you're grabbing those networks and giving us information and targeting information to go and get more criminals across this country. So thank you for the work that you're doing. We have ICE and CBP, Federal Protective Services, Secret Service, HSI, all of our officers are working with all the other agencies every day here in DC, and they're so proud to have this kind of partnership. So they're so glad that you're letting them do their jobs again. And I don't know if you've heard, sir, but the recruitment campaign.
They must. Don't miss. Doesn't sound good, but